on the session. Okay. My slides are already being shared. You can see it on screen, I believe. And based on the response that I get, you can hear me loud and clear. Now, basically, this session is not a training session, nor is it a workshop. It is just a short briefing, on MQF second edition 2024. This particular document was launched just quite recently, and it actually explains on the key elements that the ministry, the MQA itself has revised to meet the needs of the changing student and the changing work environment. Okay, so for today, the whole session, I basically will I'm going to go straight because I just suddenly found I have a last minute meeting at 10:30 that was just recently called. So I will need to end by 10:25, 10:30. Thank you. Now, today's session is actually very critical for PLs, seniors, and also ADHs, especially those who are in the role of developing programs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the first half of the session, I'm going to talk about MQF itself. What is the MQF? How does it link? And what are the key elements of it? And the second half of the session, I'm going to then explain about the key updates for this 2024 revision. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. Now, as I want to stress for those of you who are in charge of developing new programs or new courses, this will definitely be of help. Okay, so I think it's important for us to start off with a bit of a glossary. That means what are the key terminologies that we would normally use. Now, MQA, Malaysian Qualifications Agency. This is an agency, this is not a government office itself. It's a separate agency that is tasked by the government to ensure quality of programs as a neutral party itself, and to ensure that we adhere to what is required on the qualifications of a student that has actually attained qualifications here in Malaysia. For example, if a student attained a degree, a bachelor degree, which is a tahap 6, it means that this tahap 6 will mean something. What does this tahap 6 mean? MQA actually comes up with the whole, is the agency that comes up with all the documents and explanation of what a degree means. MQA actually also develops the MQF, Malaysian Qualifications Framework. Now, this framework is actually a document. As you can see, I have a printed copy over here. And this framework is a very good framework that explains to us on the nitty-gritty elements as what I said earlier on. And then we know what is a COPPA, Code of Practice for Program Accreditation. COPPA is the document that we submit to the to MQA for them to vet, for them to read, and for them to evaluate on the feasibility of us running a particular program. So that is called COPPA, Code of Practice. So we follow that. We follow what is required as the basic document. Then from there, we submit to MQA as a body. MQA will vet it. MQA will come over to do accreditation. PAFA, once it is done, they will give us accreditation. And then we will then submit that to the Ministry of Higher Education for them to also give us the approval. So MQA, please note, is not under the Ministry of Higher Education. It is a separate entity, empowered to validate and empowered to also accredit programs here in Malaysia. Then when we look into a particular program itself, there are the PEOs, PLOs, and CLOs. Okay, those are very, very straightforward. Now, the reason why this glossary is important is in today's briefing, at times we are going to use these terms, so it is important for you to really understand what does it mean. So, for example, when I say in reference to the MQF is a document. It's a clear document that states what is it in a program and so on. And later, I'm going to explain to you what are the key parts in the MQF that is critical. Okay, so when we talk about the MQF, it's an integral part of the QA, quality assurance practice of MQA. So MQA, for them to come out with their quality assurance practice of the programs, they come out with this Malaysian Qualifications Framework. So the framework. So what they're trying to say is very simple. Institutions, schools, colleges and whatnot, for you to run program, you follow this MQF. These are the rules and regulation needed for you to run the program. So we just follow lah. So that is why, as I always say, if you look at documentation, we have very good documents. We have very, very good frameworks. The only issue is sometimes the implementation of it. Okay, so the framework is defined as an instrument that develops and classifies qualifications based on a set of criteria that is agreed nationally and benchmarked with international practices, and which clarifies the academic level learning outcomes and credit system based on students' academic load. So that is one key aspect of what the MQF. It tells you what is a certificate, what is a diploma, what is a undergraduate degree, what is a master's tahap 7, what is a PhD tahap 8. It tells you all of that thing clearly. And how do they come out? They actually benchmark this with international standards. So they look at UK. What is a UK standard? They look at US. What is a US standard? They look at Australia. They look at India. They look at China and so on. Then from there, they match. So basically, our student over here who completes a tahap 6, a level 6, we are in a way similar to all level 6s around the world. Okay, because it has been done in this benchmark manner. Okay, so sometimes people ask, who is the one that sets this? Nobody actually sets. There's no one body internationally that sets what is a degree. It is it becomes an accepted norm. Individual countries has their own jurisdiction, but if you want ease of movement of students, that means from Malaysia can go to US, from US and come to Malaysia, then all of these bodies or agencies will then match their quality similarly at the same level to all around the world. So it becomes ease of movement, because we cannot have an undergraduate degree that our level is actually similar to a PhD over in England. Cannot. It doesn't work that way. So because this is called a mismatch. So we need to match it all very similarly. Okay, so that is what the MQF actually states. So when you look into the background and the evolution of the MQF, this Malaysia's qualifications framework that has been developed by MQA, how? It was launched in 2007. All right, so that was edition 1, version 1, MQF 1.0. Okay, that was 1. Then it was updated in 2017. Now, some of you may remember we used to have 8 learning outcomes, all right? The 8 key elements that students will need to attain. Then suddenly we came to the 5 clusters. So when did these 5 clusters come? In 2017. In 2017, they revised it to change the 8 learning domains, the 8 domains, into the 5 clusters. Now, if you remember, for those of you who have been to my sessions, the 8 and the 5 are equally matched, very equally, but they start breaking things up a little bit. Why do they do that? Because they are responding to the changing environment. When they developed in 2007, that was what the world was. 2007, the world was very different compared to 2017. So when they did a revision in 2017, they realized that there was this need on numeracy and also digital skills, which was not there in the earlier 8 domains. The 8 domains may only touch about digital skills or technology, but technology was too generic, so they needed to divide numeracy with digital and so on, and then interpersonal and personal skills, because that was the changing environment. So first point to take note, the MQF is a living document. A living document means it is always in the process of change. All right, there is always in the process of change. And why is there change? Because students change, and the most important thing is the industry changes. The industry change. We need to ensure that the guideline, this framework that we develop, is valid for students who graduate and start working down the road. So this should be valid in the next 4 or 5 years down the road. That is why it changes. Okay, so recent updates, the most recent one was in 2024, just a few months ago. So why was there another revision? It is not 3.0. It is actually still MQF 2.0, but revision 2024. Because there were some key revisions, but it wasn't big enough to make it a new version. Whereas version 1 in 2007, jumping to version 2 in 2017 was quite a drastic change. It was quite a big change. But the 2017 version 2 in relation to what we have today, 2024, as an update, that's only an update. So it's not a new version because there are changes, but it is not drastic. However, these changes will have an impact on the way you develop your program. So please take note, for those of you who are developing new programs, this will have an impact. Okay, so basically is respond to global education changes. The world has changed. So education has also changed, and the demand for lifelong learning and digital transformation. So as you can see later when I brief you in more detail, these changes emphasize a lot on lifelong learning. Things such as like APEL, okay, accreditation of prior experiential learning. Those are the things that you will see in this new update. Okay, and also key milestones is inclusion of technical and vocational education and training, TVET. Recently, in the past 18 months, a lot of talk about TVET, where traditionally in the Malaysian sense, there's always been a mismatch. You academic pathway, you a vocational pathway. There's always been seen that the vocational pathway was inferior to the academic pathway. No more, because in the current revisions, you will see, actually it's not so current, a few months ago already, they already put it in, that they have already matched the vocational qualifications level to the academic pathway. So it is now matched. So they want to equal up that recognition, the recognition of TVET and the academic pathway. Okay, so those are the certain changes, especially what we see in the evolution of the MQF. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so what are the objectives of the MQF? See, what are the objectives since version 1? Number 1, standardization. They need one key objective, I find this is critical, is secure qualification standards and reinforce quality assurance. So one is called standardization. You must have a framework so that everybody in Malaysia understands that there is this thing called qualification standards. Tailors, when they run a diploma, the standard and the quality must be the same as when UOW runs a diploma. Diploma must be the same. Visualize this. If we do not have a framework, everybody run on their own. Some people's diploma can only be 1 month and 20 credits, and they call it a diploma. So there's going to be a lot of confusion. Okay, so standardization, many of us in academia may not like it, but it is needed to ensure ease of movement, as I want to stress again, between institutions, and also proceeding to further institutions. I finished my diploma here in UOW Malaysia. Subsequently, I want to do my degree in tailors, for example. So tailors will then understand my diploma that I have attained in UOW Malaysia, because it is MQA accredited, so it will already meet certain standards. So because I follow the framework, and this makes students' progression easier. Ease of progression. It gives the employer also certain understanding. If I'm employing a person with a diploma from a Malaysian institution that is accredited, I know this person will already attain certain level of knowledge. Diploma, it is going to be very knowledge only. So when they join an institution, when they join my workplace, you know they are able to do a lot of fundamental areas. Okay? Now, if I'm hiring a degree individual or a person who attains a master's, then my expectation then will be different based on the qualification this person has attained. That is called standardization. Okay? Number 1. Number 2, progression. The MQF allows to provides a mechanism for interrelation between qualifications. As I said, diploma, degree, and so on. So there is progression, ease of progression. Not only it explains what is it, number two is ease of progression. Okay, so you know what is the next step and so on. 3, collaboration. Encourage collaboration between public and private sectors. So the MQF, so now public universities and private universities, if we are using the same rule book, this is the rule book, the MQF is the rule book, then we are playing the same game. Once we play the same game, then there is going to be the ease and understanding of individuals when we are playing the same game. Because we do not want public university and private universities to have different standards. Okay, so this is very important. That's called collaboration. And of course, number 4 is global competency. Having an MQF, a similar rule book that everybody is playing, facilitates international recognition and comparability. As you remembered in my starting statements, I said, how did we come up with the MQF? How did MQA come up with the MQF? It is through understanding and working with international standards. So they have already benchmarked with UK, US, Australia, and so on. Then we come up with our MQF. So now, the key aspect as number 4 there is, we are then competent globally. So if our programs are accredited by MQA, full accreditation, and we follow, because we're accredited, we follow the MQF, then internationally, people will feel it very easy. The Australian university or the US university say, oh, this student is coming with a degree from UOW Malaysia that is accredited by MQA, their local accrediting body, which is governed by the MQF, that is benchmarked similar, not the same, similar to our Australian standards. So when we take this student in, we will take them at a particular level. You see? So that is the objective of the MQF. Okay? Because a lot of these things, now the reason why all of these things is so important is because the word diploma, the word degree, the word masters is meaningless if there is no clear benchmark or definition behind those words itself. Okay? There must be an understanding. What does a degree? What is a master's? What's a PhD? What's a certificate? So if there is no framework, means no definition, then those names are meaningless. Now, I'm not being in a way insensitive. However, I want to state a little bit. Certain countries, like our neighbor down south, they are a little bit more lax. That is why some of you may understand. If you get a student coming in with a diploma or a higher diploma from Singapore, it's very hard to gauge. Because sometimes their diploma can be 1 year. Okay? Their diploma can be 1.5 years, can be 9 months. It's called a diploma. Okay? Over there is quite liberal in the way that they do. Okay? So, because of that nature, it becomes a little bit more challenging for us when we take the students in. Okay? So that is the benefit of our system compared to their system. Of course, their system have their own benefits to the employer. However, I'm not going to state on that because today I'm just going to talk about the MQF. Okay, have any of you seen any qualifications that are very different? A diploma that is only 9 months or 1 year? I believe business school, you have attained quite a few of those inquiries because it has crossed my desk before. All right. Okay. So, quality assurance and the role of MQA. What is the role of MQA? Implementation. Okay, so MQF as an integral part of the quality assurance system. So what does MQA do? MQA assures that the MQF, it is being implemented. So in our context over here, they ensure that the MQF, we as a private institution, we implement the MQF. We follow the rules and regulation. Okay, and in Malaysia, for those of you who may not be in the know, there is this thing called MQR. You can go and search. This is the registry. It actually tells which institution and what program is accredited by the MQA. Central Repository for Accredited Qualifications. That is called the MQR. Okay, Malaysian Qualifications Registry. You can search online. Then you type in UOW, you type in tailors, you look at their programs. Okay, so if somebody comes in, now why is this so important? This is important is because this registry becomes the guide for people who want to check whether your qualification is being meets or follows the or accredited in Malaysia. All right. So let's say a foreign student has done a particular program in Malaysia, then they bring it back to their country. The country want to query. So very easy. What do? They go into the MQR. Inside there, they check, you have done a bachelor in hospitality in the old KDU, for example. Then they check. Oh, God, yes, this is the program code. This is this is that. Inside, also got tell how many credits. It's supposed to be 120. Then he check yours, 120. Okay, so this is the registry itself. A very useful registry for you to actually search and for you to check on a particular program itself. And of course, MQA, authority responsible for implementing MQF and accrediting programs. So this is the authority. The MQA is the one that does it. Okay, but MQA is just the body that implements the MQF. So what is important for all of us here is not, we should not worry so much about MQA and who works there. Our concern as academicians will emphasize more on the MQF. So this document, as in my many briefings during OBE briefings that I do, I always tell my colleagues, please read the MQF. Okay, it is very good. So once you read the MQF, the way that you develop your program or your courses, automatically in the background in your mind, you will already understand it should be this way. What is the learning outcome? What is the action verbs that I must use? What must the student attain? How many credits is already there at the back? Okay, so that is why this document is very good. Many times already I've emphasized, just read it on casual reading. You don't have to memorize everything on casual reading. Another thing that I would like to stress at this part, not only do you read the MQF, but please read the program standards of your individual discipline. Individual disciplines, everybody, for you all, it may be engineering, business, hospitality, and so on. You have program standards. Program standards are developed from the MQF. Please take note. So whoever develop program standards, they cannot develop on their own, they still need to refer to the MQF. So those people, professors or whoever who's developing the hospitality program standard, they will understand this, then they develop the hospitality program standards. So these two must be read together, Okay, then you read the program standards and always take note, program standards, many versions also, many versions. There are many different versions. So please take note, you should have the newest version. I know business school recently, you were recently issued a new version. So there's certain changes that needs to be done until I believe you're given until the first half of next year to do those changes. And that happens. Now, some of you may ask, why so mafan? So many changes of program standards, so many changes of MQF. Because the world is changing. Employers are changing. Employers do not want the same students that we have been churning out 15 years ago. Because 15 years ago, the world was different from it is today. So they need different kind of people. Because they need different kind of people, you cannot use the same rule book. Okay, so the rule book also must change. The requirements also must change. That is why program standards change. That is why you will see certain programs, the program standards are even more rapid in change. Maybe computing, okay, technology-based, engineering, business, those change more rapidly because their sector are those that actually are more vibrant. I'm not saying the others are not, but they are the more vibrant ones that is in a constant change. And because of that, the program standards need to catch on also to make sure that they change accordingly, to make sure that the students are relevant. Okay? Understand this, guys, so far? Boleh? Any questions? Okay, good. Ada soalan? Any questions? Okay, good. All right. Feel free, yeah. So, in the MQF, the most basic document, the most basic part is this. Okay, this. So it's the level lah, the level. So the level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, currently 9 belum ada lagi, tells what is the expectation of that person. Now, how do you read this? It's like this. You read levels, like example, I'm going to take level 4, easy. You read level 4, and that level 4 is a diploma. Okay? You must read this. What does the level 4 mean? You must refer to the program standard. You must refer to the MQF. So I give you an example. So if it's level 4, you go inside here, it will actually tell you. Okay, it will tell you very nicely. I'm just trying to open qualifications by level. Level 4. Mana ni? Level 4. Level 4. The diploma qualifications of level 4, blah, blah, blah. Then they say this part, the breadth and depth of knowledge are wider in one or more areas of study or discipline, encompassing main theories, principles, concepts. Learners should develop high cognitive skill and acquire varied generic work and high-level technical skill to perform complex. So you need to read the level 4 with the description of in the MQF. So it explains to you what does it mean to be a level 4. Okay, now I'm going to read to you a little bit on level 7. Level 7 means master. So if master, the first two lines, very simple. A master's degree demonstrates in-depth and significant advanced specialized theoretical or applied knowledge. So you hear that or not? Master's in-depth. The other one, knowledge. So now, diploma, just knowledge. Master's in-depth, higher level. That is what is so important. When you see levels, you must read it with the MQF. And the MQF, the document here, actually explains clearly on what this level the student must attain. Now, this is where I find when I sit into some schools' program review. Every year you do program review, so I am blessed. Sometimes schools invite me, Gabe, can you give us feedback? And this, I said, no problem. I will sit in with you when I listen. When they are doing the program review, sometimes they neglect the first part. The first part is always the program leader or the ADH or the head of school must set standards. So they must go this. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to do a program review on the master's program. Because your lecturers, some of them come from different disciplines and they teach different levels. So you must set the mindset. Today we're going to do masters, masters in ABC or whatever. So masters, the expectation of the student is this. You read to them. Then they are in the right state of mind. Then they do. Don't forget, your lecturers may teach diploma, may teach degree, may teach masters, may teach PhD, may teach cert. Okay? So now they are in the right set of mind. We are doing masters. Once they know that, then you do your program review. And the first thing about program review you must always evaluate is your PEO, Program Educational Objectives. All right. So now we are going to talk about PEOs. Masters, level 7. Then you read. When your staff is already in the right set of mind, they can evaluate properly. Betul. Macam tak cukup. Then sometimes when they read, after that their comment maybe, boss, maybe earlier on when you read the definition of a master student, your PEO is like very low level. Itu yang betul. That means your staff is now on the right state of mind. All right. So that is where this document, Malaysia's qualifications framework, come in, where you set that standard already. So everybody knows today's meeting is on what level. This is a very practical example I'm telling. Okay. So why it's important. So then after that, when they start evaluating the program learning outcome, they already know it's masters, high level. So they can give more constructive comments and more relevant comments. Okay, so that is what is important. So when you look at this on the screen here, this one, it tells you very simply in Malaysia, Degree, 120 credits minimum. Diploma, 90 credits minimum. Minimum. Doesn't mean you cannot go 92, 93, can. But don't go 115 or something like that lah. Okay. So this is the qualifications, levels and qualifications. Any questions, guys? Paham, Now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gab, I
Marina.
have one question. I always get confused with this level, postgraduate certificate. What program would be under postgraduate certificate?
Okay, I give you an example. I will use School of Business. School of Business has an MBA. But what they do is they actually break that MBA down into 3 different exit awards. The first exit award can be a certificate, second can be a postgraduate diploma, and then finally, when you attain everything, you will get your master's level itself. Okay, so what it does is this, because these are called exit awards. A postgraduate certificate can be a 20 credits that a student attain that is more advanced than their degree, so they can get that postgraduate certificate. Okay, now it is not a master's. A master's is 40 credits, minimum of 40 credits, but this one can be done in that way. Some institutions don't. Some institutions, there's no postgraduate diploma or postgraduate certificate, tak ada. All right, so you must only get 40 credits masters. But some institutions, what they do is this: they understand working people may not be able to commit directly into 40 credits for a master's. So they tell the student, you can join us for our postgraduate certificate first. Then after that, you can continue to your postgraduate diploma. Then after that, you finish off another 10 more credits, you get your master's. So you get different exit awards. So it actually encourages the student to proceed for their education.
Yeah. Another question is this postgraduate certificate. What is the value when you go out there in terms of employability? What do they benefit from this?
So they're basically macam ni. Let's say I'm already degree. I got degree now. So I'm working, busy. So I want to improve myself. So I join tailors. They have a postgraduate certificate. So at least there is extra badges for me lah. Extra for me. It comes down to the institution. It comes down to the company. Company will say, "Oh, you got a postgraduate certificate. You're looking at more areas of finance, for example." So it can actually benefit. It shows rigor in the individual student. I want to learn.
So how long is this postgraduate certificate?
Because it is 20 credit, it could be a semester.
Okay. 6 months, I think.
Depends lah. 20 full-time, 20 full-time, you can, maybe around tight. It's a bit tight on 6 months should be good lah.
Yeah, and postgraduate diploma? 1 year.
Postgraduate, normally it can be 8 months.
Okay.
Because the rule is like this, The rule is, if you're talking about credits, 1 tahun tidak melebihi 50 kredit. So 1 semester is normally around 16 to 17 credit on a full-time load. Okay? I know some of you a bit lebih, tak apa. So this is on the full-time load lah. So a student, if they join us January to December, 3 semesters, total credits not supposed, best practice, not supposed to exceed 50 lah. Okay, so if you talk about 20, this is like maybe 1 sem, 1 plus sem. If you're talking about 30, it's like 2 sem. That is why masters, certain institutions can do it in 1 year. Certain institutions will do it 1 year, 4 months.
Okay, thank you. Terima kasih, Gabriel.
No problem.
Gabe, Nora here.
Nora.
Just now you mentioned about the annual program review, right? You say that it should start with identifying the level, and then after that talk about the PEO, right?
Yes.
Because our standard form shows first is the strategic alignment. It doesn't go in the order that you mentioned, and then adequacy and relevancy. That one is a standard form, There is a PEO, but it's somewhere down there. It's not like the first thing. Yeah. So I think we need to take a look at our standard form.
Wait, is there a standard form for a program?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, all right, all right.
We
I may
follow
have missed
that
that.
every year, and again. So if you want, I can also forward to you ours.
Okay, okay. Yes,
Because I
definitely.
think the other schools also forward the same one. Because
Okay,
when we
okay.
ask Sharina, right, when we have to present during management meeting, she gave us that format, which was done
Okay,
from the
okay,
other school. But I don't know whether it's the right one lah. I
okay.
mean,
Good point,
maybe you
good
can
point.
take a look and then just because I
Yeah.
think that one is also a bit funny lah, that
Because if it is
particular.
not right, I will change it. I will change it.
Can you please, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
make it something that is more doable?
yeah. I think yeah, quite a few months ago, because every year normally I will send the program review flow to all the heads so that if you can follow that method. I actually came out with a chart on how to do program review. But thank you very much, Nora. That could be something which needs a bit of a review lah. Okay, because it's always important for us to look into the PEO and the standards first, then only we do the review.
Because that is the reason why I did it. So that's why I'm wondering if we should follow what you say.
Yeah,
So then we
yeah,
should change lah. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yes, please, yes, please.
All
Saya
right.
punya effective.
Itu saja.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So understand, so these are standards, but these are basically MQF levels, and these MQ levels are fixed. And I want to show you this side here. Tengok ni, TVET sector. So now they have already included the TVET and they already match nicely. So like example, TVET from here, you can join here. So a student with a diploma in TVET, they want to join degree, they can, because it is the same. All right. So a student with diploma TVET not join degree, it is accepted equally. However, see, I always put a caveat there. The institution and the program standard of the discipline can put prerequisites for them. It means like this. They may say all TVET students from diploma will be recognized into a formal academic degree. However, they need to do two courses. One is, let's say, advanced finance, and the other one is advanced human resources, for example. You see? So that is like prerequisite to enter. You understand this, huh? So that one individual discipline. Certain discipline tak ada. You can just say, yes, all can flow in through already, can flow in through. Further into that, it is institutional power under the Senate. That means for us, UOW can state on our own accord, any TVET student from diploma coming in, example computing, they need to have mathematics, trigonometry or algebra or something like that. That is institutional authority under the Senate, our own control lah. Why are we doing it? Because the school may have decided that student coming in, they need to have this. So those coming in from the TVET field, yes, they are good student, but they orang tak ada itu, dia kena ada. If not, they are going to suffer. We put prerequisite not to menyusahkan student, It is to show that the student won't headache when they join the main program, because that is a prerequisite yang dia perlu. If don't have, they go into the degree, they are lost. You see, that is why. Okay. Now, the level descriptors differentiate. We have level descriptors, and it differentiates depth, complexity, and comprehension of knowledge, cognitive skill, functional skill, as well as breadth, sophistication, and practice. All right. Personal skill, ethics, professionalism, and of course, scope of complexity, application, and responsibility. You look at these 6 things here, it is similar to the five clusters. The 5 clusters that we say. So basically what they say is the levels will differentiate what depth of knowledge and so on as per the 5 clusters that the students need to attain. Like earlier on, I read to you diploma, they need to know the knowledge. Whereas in master's level, in-depth knowledge. You see? So in master's level and PhD level, not only do they need the knowledge, they need to apply and create new knowledge. PhD, creation of new knowledge. Degree students, no need to create new knowledge yet. Okay, but they need to apply in the correct situation. So that is the different levels. All right, the hierarchy of knowledge that a person will need to attain as they climb up the different stairs. Okay, so that is what the level descriptors say. And the beauty of it, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I really want to sell the MQF. I'm a salesman, but due to my screen, you cannot see the document that I'm showing, but I'm showing here. At the back of the document, it is a very clear chart that breaks down what the students need to learn and what skill. So a degree student, for that skill, what is needed. For a diploma student, for that skill, what is needed. Very, very precise. That is why this is a very, very good document. I'm selling that again. Okay. Thing next. The main purpose of the level descriptors. So what are the main purpose? Okay, now we understand it differentiates that. So all the level descriptors. One, guide writing learning outcomes. When you have your level descriptors very clearly, like a master student, a degree student, a certificate or a diploma and a certificate. So when you write your learning outcome, it'll be easier. Degree learning outcome is different from master's and PhD learning outcome. All right, number one. Two, set out overarching and generic level descriptors. So now you know, it gives you a clear explanation. Once you already know your level, this is a degree student. So you know degree students, what is for them to achieve will definitely be higher than a certificate student. Okay? And number three, we are looking at common and shared understanding of the qualifications. So if we know every institution, if they have a diploma in hotel and catering, lebih kurang, these are the things that they will learn. They cannot run away one. Okay? Lebih kurang. Now, I'm not saying 100%, because if we follow program standards, if we follow, and when we follow this MQF, the structure, the ranker is already there. But even program standards give us some leeway, slight tweak that we can do left and right a little bit. So I can clearly say, if a Taylor student's coming in, finish a diploma in hotel and catering, want to join us for degree, I can clearly say he would have done dining room service. He would know what is Guridon service. He would know the difference between Danish pastry and puff pastry, because that is the basics. Okay, so and because his diploma only, he will know these few things. Will he know higher level? Not likely. Maybe tailors may have taught him a little bit. That's a bonus. But other than that, not likely, because the level descriptors clearly states what that competency of that person is. Okay. And number four, it creates a key reference point. Okay. A reference point, so you know diploma, degree, masters, and so on. What is the key aspects on this person and what is expected and what is this person able to do? Okay. Apply in referencing MQF to other external frameworks, definitely, because if we follow the MQF, our diploma will be quite similar to if over in UK, a person has done HND, Higher National Diploma. For some of you, you may heard this, HND, Higher National Diploma. It is similar to vocational TVET. So if our diploma and their HND Advanced is roughly the same. Advanced, okay? So it is roughly using the same terminologies. Senang lah macam tu. Alright, so now very easy. I get a UK student who say, I've completed my HND year 12, or they call it an advanced. They want to join. In my mind, I already know, ayah dia punya HND sama dengan saya punya diploma. So if he comes in, he would then fit into a degree, maybe some course exemption, credit transfer, but his level is there. Is he a degree level? No, he's not. He's only a HND, Higher National Diploma. You see? Then next, another purpose for the level descriptors will be applied in wide variety of learning setting, such as conventional classroom to work-based learning. So now this is it. This is where it becomes a little bit more fun. A person who already have the knowledge working as a senior manager in Intel, only got diploma, already a senior manager of Intel. He wants to come and join a master's program. Because of that, we know on paper he diploma, but on ability, if you read the MQF on ability, what he can do, he is matched roughly around a degree year 3 to maybe a master's, because he can not only do, he can apply. As we read the definitions, he can do that. So what does it mean is we feel that he can go to a master's. So he go through appel process lah. For those of you who have gone through my appel training, he goes through appel A. He goes through the appel A assess process, and by matching his competency with the definition of the level descriptor, we find that he is competent for level 7. Then he go and do his master's. That is the beauty of it, because once every level is so clearly defined, we are able to slot individuals in to do based on their ability and not only the paper qualification. Most of us in this particular group that we have here, we have achieved our qualifications not based on the demonstration of our competency in work, but based on our academic competency. Correct or not? Any of you here, my friends here, you gone through appel? Appel A? No, right? For you, basically, correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong. You have done your diploma, you did your degree, you did your master's, you did your PhD, very traditional academic sense. In the academic sense, your demonstration of competency is proven when you are in that level, and when you achieve your competency, you are given the parchment, the certificate. That is why you got your master's. And with your master's, you go into your PhD. But people who are working, who do not have that academic route, their demonstration must be on ability. They can do it. I'm a senior manager in Intel. So they go through the appel route. This is where work-based learning comes in. Okay? So when you have level descriptors so clearly, master's students, masters means they must prove these kind of things. A person who is working can then match where do they go and be able to enter into that level, even though they do not have the academic qualification, accreditation of prior experiential learning. That is where appel comes in. Understand this, guys? So MQF, brilliant document. If I'm a salesman for MQF, I'll be their top salesman. Okay. Apply in the assessment of prior experiential as what it is said over here for admission and also credit award. Okay. So this is the main purpose for this clear level descriptors. Why do we have that? Okay. Now, another key aspect that is also very important in the MQF is these 5 clusters. So the 5 clusters, you all will know this by heart. It is broken down into 11 subclusters. Knowledge and understanding, cognitive. So I actually highlighted the 11. Knowledge, cognitive, practical, interpersonal, communication, digital, numeracy, leadership, personal, entrepreneurship, and ethics. So there are 11 there. This is a revision from the 2007 version 1 that have 8 learning domains. You all may have remembered these are 8 learning domains. So in 2017 version 2, they changed the 8 similar, but they broke it down a little bit because the market changed. All right, they have digital and numeracy. Digital, very important, numeracy. All right, and interpersonal and so on. So they made it a little bit more different. Okay, so in the MQF, this is also a very important part. It tells what are the key things that the student must achieve. So what they say is this: you are a certificate student, you are a level 3. You are supposed to attain all, but at different levels. At different levels. Certificate students, I'm not going to make you a total leader to be the next prime minister. Not yet, but you should know a little bit about leadership. Certificate students, you are more on the knowledge side. You are gaining your knowledge. You are more on the communication side. You are learning how to be with people, putting your ideas through. As you go up, the expectations are different. PhD students, master students, knowledge and understanding is a given. Not so important. Not saying not important. is you must have that knowledge already. Knowledge is the prior knowledge you must have already. Your side, PhD and master student is more cognitive. You apply those knowledge into new knowledge. You make new knowledge. And not only do you make new knowledge, you make a new knowledge in a ethical manner. Ethics. All right? So, and you integrate different components into this cognitive development that you are going through. Okay? So that is how it is. So a lot of my colleagues always ask, okay, certificate student need ethics? I say, of course. Certificate student entrepreneurship is too hard for them. I'm not asking them to be the next Richard Branson, but they need to know the opportunity of being an entrepreneur. All right? They need to know the skills of an entrepreneur. To be an intrapreneur. Intrapreneur is an entrepreneur in your own organization. That is an intrapreneur. You need to know, all right, the basic skills you need to know. But a master's or a PhD student or the degree student, not only do they need entrepreneurship skills, they need to apply those skills to make their organization more effective. In my role today, in my daily role, I am an entrepreneur. Even though this is not my company, it is called being an intrapreneur. So the skills that I learn, I'm being innovative to bring in new students. I'm being innovative to make the experience of the students more effective. I'm bringing in revenue, not through students, but through any other areas. That is being an intrapreneur. So these are the things that we channel to our students. So based on the MQF, simple. All of these students must know at different levels, And because they are at different levels, I want to touch this a little bit. When you reward students, you also reward accordingly. For the certificate and diploma year 1 student, when they define marketing, they write, okay, I said define management. Management is the process of planning, organization, leading, and controlling to meet organizational goals. Diploma year 1 student, I will give marks. Because that is what they're supposed to do. Whereas, if it is a master student, and in the first statement of their answer in their essay, they define management, are you going to give them marks? No, that is a given. They must know what management is because they are at level 7. So these 5 classes, it varies. Not only do we expect differently, but we also evaluate differently at different levels. A master students, you must evaluate them differently compared to a degree, diploma, certificate students. You evaluate differently. Understand this, guys? Okay. That is why in the MQF, these 5 clusters must be read with the levels. The level domains must be read together. Okay. So that is on the MQF part 1. Okay. Now, part 2 is actually where the changes takes place. So I'm going to now talk to you about the MQF 2.0 version 2024. It is already going to be 10 a.m. I hope to do it in the next 25 minutes. Thank you very much for your patience. So the purpose, ensure currency and relevance in a changing landscape of higher education. Why do they have this MQF 2.0 2024? And the whole landscape of higher education is evolving. Okay. So what is the key drivers? Alignment with the ASEAN qualifications reference framework. So this AQRF is a general framework that all across the countries of ASEAN abide to. Okay, so we want to follow that to make sure we are singing the same song. There are 4 key main focus. This is the one that will impact those who are developing program. 4 main focus. They are value-based education, flexible learning pathway, integration of sustainable development goals, SDG, 17 of them, and harmonization of the MQF with other sectorial occupational frameworks. So, unified framework. So other key aspect here will be on it integrates academic and TVET sectors. All right. So there's a unified framework. As you can see, TVET is now there and the academic side all matching already. 8 levels of learning, maintain consistent qualification titles for each level, certificate all the way to PhD, tahap 1 hingga tahap 8, no change, still the same. And it supports credit accumulation and transfer. In the more recent changes, MQA is emphasizing a lot on learners that are working, the working adult. They're emphasizing a lot. For them is this, there are many individuals. The traditional ones are those from after SPM, very straightforward, very straightforward. But they are emphasizing a lot for those, like I gave you an example, the senior manager from Intel who only has a diploma but want to do a master's now. Can or not? They are emphasizing a lot on that. So they want to give opportunity for these people who did not go through the traditional path of learning. However, they attain the same skill based on their work. Okay, so that is called the credit system. Okay, so the main focus for MQF second edition 2024, as I said, are the 4 things: value-based education, flexible learning pathways, SDG, and the harmonization with other sectoral occupational framework. I'm going to take you through these key 4 things because it's going to impact the way you develop your program, and it is going to impact the way you do program review. Yes, it will. Now, first one, value-based education. An educational approach that emphasizes the development of moral, ethical, and social values alongside academic and technical skills. This key element here is due to a lot of what you call white-collar crime. Betul kan? The biggest crime are the people who are the most intelligent. They are too educated, but they are not ethical. All right? So that is what they want to overcome. So what they're trying to say here is this. When you develop your program, develop value-based education in your program. In the process of giving them the knowledge and skill, try to make them better people. Simple as that. I find it very difficult. How? But that is what they're trying to say. And the best thing is they give us free hand. We are supposed to develop our program. So even though, for example, I am teaching dining room service, I'm supposed to integrate value-based education in there. All right. How do I do that without neglecting the current course? It doesn't mean you come up with a new program, you know. You understand that, guys? It is through the process. I always relate it as how our parents developed us when we were young. Okay, how when we were developed, my parents did not have a special class for me every Tuesday or Wednesday about ethics. But based on my daily work, how they brought me up, ethical behavior was always integrated. For us in the old Chinese community, everybody is an uncle or an auntie. First thing we say, we go into the house and, hey, you never call uncle, you never call auntie, oh, uncle, auntie. So these kind of things, that is called value-based education. Once or twice, she told me that. Subsequently, every time I visit somebody who is older, we will normally call already. All right, if no, but last time different. Last time we normally get tight slap if we don't do, but now cannot lah. Okay, so it's the same thing. That's called value-based. Okay. So core principles will be holistic development, focuses on nurturing students' character, integrity, and sense of responsibility. Ethical competency embeds ethical reasoning and decision-making into the curriculum. Put in the curriculum, part of it, talk about ethical reasoning and decision. Why do we do this? Making money is important, but making money ethically is critical. Why do we do this? How does it impact our lives? Okay, and cultural awareness promotes understanding and appreciation of diverse cultures and perspective. So implementation, integration of value-based education into curricula across all levels of learning. So MQA said this, all levels, dari certificate hingga PhD, everything. All right, PhD, we already have this thing called ethical practices in research. We got, all right, but that is one. Certificate students also should know. Okay. Encouragement of community engagement and service learning as part of educational programs. Reaching out to community, going out. Okay, so this is extra co-curricular aspects that they are looking at. Okay, understand that not everybody has a food. Has food to eat. Not everybody has shelter. Those kind of things, for example. Okay. Outcomes. Why do they do this? They want graduates who are not only skilled in their respective field, but also possess strong moral compass and commitment to societal well-being. If you think about it now, in all your discipline, can put in one. Teaching marketing, examples, ethical examples inside. In computing, it's the same. No change of syllabus, no change of structure. It's the way that you develop it. It's the way that you run your classes. Put in thoughts, put in values into it. That is what it means. Okay, any questions, guys? Okay. 2, second key thing, flexible learning pathway. Educational structures that provide students with multiple routes to attain their qualification, catering to diverse learning needs and career aspiration. What they're trying to say is, we are supposed to, the second key part on the MQF is make our program more flexible to allow people to join or to leave and come back as what they want. That is what it is. Because career aspirations and learning needs vary. People may have worked and now want to join studies. So what we are already doing it. ODL program is answering this. All right. Open distance learning is answering this. We are having programs that are in that manner. Appel Center for us here in UOW is the same. Why are we having that center? Because we are answering the need of this requirement over here. All right. So we are already doing it in our own sense over here in UOW Malaysia. So I'm quite happy we are already on track. What I'm trying to also say is, if other schools can also do ODL, may not be for all, may not be for all, you can think about it. It may not be ODL per se. It could be different types of learning, flexible learning pathways, like MOOCs, all right, online learning, or like MOOCs, short programs that will benefit the students in their growth. Okay, so the key features: modular learning allows students to take courses or modules on their own pace, either full-time or part-time. Okay, recognition of prior learning. So this is, we recognize students through their prior learning, through their MOOCs, through their different courses that they have done and so on. Appel Center, we actually do that. Credit transfer system, we have always been doing that. Work-based learning, academic studies with practical work experiences, enabling students to apply their knowledge in real-world settings. Yes, we have industrial training, and I still remember previously, hospitality school even have what you call day release. Day release is 1 day in a week, students are sent out to go to the industry to work. Okay, 1 day in a week during their semester for the culinary student. Okay, and we during that time, it was actually very, very good, because the students, not only do they learn, they can apply, they can find the challenges, they come back, they were more matured. All right. It was stopped because of the control mechanism. It became a little bit more difficult. Not saying it wasn't good, it was good, but it had its own challenges. Okay. Enhance accessibility to education, enabling learners of all backgrounds and circumstances to pursue and complete their studies. So this is called flexible learning pathway. We have this, and I'm quite proud to say it is working. Okay, but we can do more, definitely. Okay, so here, as you can see, the Appel, lifelong learning and Appel here. So for example, earlier on, remember I gave you the example of the guy with a diploma but want to do a master's. So master's level 7. So entry requirement under Appel, 30 years old with a diploma or relevant and pass Appel assessment. See, can. Opportunity for him. If not this route, he needs to do his degree. And if he is working and he's doing a degree part-time, it will take him 4 to 5 years. Do you think he wants to do a degree? Definitely not. He's already working. He has a lot of commitments. So he go through the Appel route with his diploma. He go through the Appel route, and then he can do his master's. This is what it is, lah. This is lifelong learning. Opportunities for lifelong learning. Okay. Any questions there, guys? Okay. So what does Appel do? Appel A Center will match him to the MQF framework. See whether is he fit to go into level 7. That is what it does. Number 3, this one number 3. Integration of sustainable development goals. This is the one, especially those who are developing new programs, reviewing, you should add in. So the 17 SDGs are a global initiative adopted by UN to address the challenges such as poverty, inequality, climate change, and environmental degradation by 2030. So what is MQF's role? Curriculum integration. MQF wants us to ensure that education programs include content related to the SDGs, encouraging students to contribute to sustainable development in their future careers. How does it work? Engineering school is already doing it. I know our engineering school here, when they give assignment to student, they tell student, okay, this is your assignment, relate it to SDG 4, 5, and 6. So student, when they do the assignment, the scenario is poverty. Is one of those SDGs that they have to look at. So this is what it is. Already being done. The reason why engineering school is so proactive in this is because engineering board requires them to do it. So they are more proactive. Okay, see, engineering board already require them to do. Now the MQF is telling the rest. Good for you all to do. Good for you all to do. Institutional commitment encourages education institute to adopt practices that support sustainability, such as reducing carbon footprint, promote social equality, and so on. So they want us to promote social equality, all right, and also reduce our carbon footprint. Under research and innovation, promotes research that contributes to solving global challenges outlined by the SDG. Okay. So outcomes, what do we want to see? Graduates who not only knowledgeable and skilled, but also equipped to contribute to global sustainable efforts in their professional and personal lives. Okay, so these are the 17 SDGs that you can look at. So take, for example, hospitality school. You can relate your assignments, your work, and so on. I'm talking about in a more micro environment in your class, by looking at, let's say, good health and well-being. So it could be getting your students to relate their assignment on menu development on good health and well-being for the Malaysian context. Yes, been implementing, build environment, very good. Vanessa, you guys are more proactive. You guys are already one step ahead of MQA. MQA sekarang only. Why? Because later you will see that MQA also now listening more to industry. Previously, they are more on their own. Now they listen more to industry, and industry requires this. Okay, so hospitality, as I said, even in the culinary assignments, ask them, maybe they can concentrate at good health and well-being or zero hunger. And zero hunger doesn't mean go and give charity. No, it could be repurposing food byproducts. All right, we cannot be the angel to give money to everybody. It could be when you cook, there is a lot of byproducts. How do we reuse the byproducts to come up with a type of meal or a dish or something that can last long, can be easily stored, it is cheap, and can be given to people for zero hunger. I was listening to BFM a couple of days ago. So every morning at 6 o'clock, I listen at 6 o'clock. They have BBC. And it was, I can't remember if it was in in an African country where they are looking not at zero hunger, but on pollution, where they are reusing coconut husk or something, coconut husk to replace charcoal. Okay, so they are using those kind of things because that is something that they have in abundance. They don't need to cut trees to get charcoal, abundance. But how do they repurpose it to make them as effective as charcoal? Okay, so these are the types of assignments that you can get your students to do relating to these SDGs. So there are many things over here. There are 17 that you can actually look at. So Why am I saying this is important for those who are developing program or also courses? When you develop your program now, when you develop your courses, especially on the course structure, you will find that one key aspect on the course structure is now looking into SDGs, SDGs, SDGs. So let this dictate the way you develop your course. When you develop your course, let this help dictate the way. Whenever when you write your course, let's say you're doing marketing, you're doing a marketing course, you're coming up with a structure. When you write your marketing syllabus, look at it. How can I meet two or three different SDGs in the way that I teach? Do I need to touch 17? No, definitely not. 2 or 3, very good already. Example, responsible consumption and production. If you're teaching marketing in the business school, SDG 12 can be very good. SDG 12 can be very good. Or SDG 10 can be very good. Reducing inequalities, wealth inequalities, for example. So that is how we want to integrate, implement, and introduce these SDGs into the program itself. Okay? So it is not reinventing the wheel, it is putting this in part of your program. So when you do program review, end of the year, you do program review, it is good for you to maybe think, how do we integrate some of these key factors in your program review itself? Okay? And finally, number 4, harmonizing of the MQF with other sectoral occupational framework. Vanessa already said in built environment, they're already doing it. It could be because they are proactive, or it could be because the other frameworks that they are abiding to. Because a lot of different disciplines, they have other frameworks. Nursing board. Engineering board. This, that, and so on. You are already governed by different boards. So what they're trying to say here is MQF, this new revision, also want to have this harmonization between different boards to ensure that there is synchronization, that we are all heading towards the same goal. Example, SDGs. Most of the professional boards and bodies already are required to abide by this. Engineering, for example, already required. So now MQF is also working, harmonizing the needs to ensure we are heading towards the same goal. MQF aims to be inclusive, integrative, and facilitative of various skills, occupational, and competency framework. Applicable to frameworks developed by public or private agency and industry associations. So all the other industry, Lembaga Architect also has something similar to implement. See? Betul lah. That's what I said lah. So Vanessa has already supported that statement by saying that even LAM already have their own different requirements in already. Okay. Purpose, supports training and development, regulation, and licensing. So when we look at this, we understand that MQF is, the MQF, the new document 2024, is heading towards the right direction. When MQA revised this to add in certain key aspects on these 4 key elements, it's heading towards the right direction. So now the ball comes to our court. What does MQA want? MQA is telling us, guys, for you to be competitive, and this is what the market needs, these are the 4 things you all should abide with, should look at when you develop. They are not saying, please put aside your program standards. No, do that, but also look into this. Look into the first one, the ethical behavior of our student. Look into lifelong learning. Make your program attractive so that students working can come and join back. Structure your program that allows for people who are working to study. 3, look into the SDGs. This 17. Try to structure it. I know what they are trying to do. They are trying to say that, try to structure it that at the end of the day, students will be able to touch this 17, all 17, during the course of their learning. 3 years degree. You know, they will touch a little bit so that they know what are the 17 itself. It doesn't mean you must concentrate. It doesn't mean that, oh, we must only concentrate on 1, 2, and 3. No. Students should understand all these 17 at different levels. So things such as like peace, justice, and strong institution, it could be at a higher level, degree year 3, one of the 2 assignments that will touch a little bit there. It doesn't mean every course must touch. No, touch a bit, but try to cover everything if possible. That's what they're trying to say. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when we develop our program, based on PEO, Program Educational Objectives, correct, right? And program educational objectives is driven by the competitiveness of the student. The student graduate from us, whether can find job or not, and whether the industry want or not. And what does the industry want? The industry want people who know about SDGs. The industry want individual students to be able to go in and to be able to apply theories and concepts that would complement certain areas of the SDGs, certain areas. Okay? So when you look into it, those are the 4 key elements. All right. So just to continue the 4th one, alignment and referencing. Local framework custodians can choose to align with the MQF. Formal referencing allows agencies to publicly declare alignment with MQF qualification levels. So what they're also trying to say under the 4th one is, if you have not so much for us, this is more for other local bodies. If they align with the MQF, then they can say a program or a course done in this association or whatever is similar to a certificate or whatnot. Okay. So at the end of the day, in conclusion, before I go into that, I just want to go back here a little bit. At the end of the day, when we look at this, the main focus for the MQF, 2nd edition 2024, these 4 elements should be there when we develop our program, when we do program evaluation, our yearly program audits, and so on. Okay, program reviews, it must be there. So when you do your program re-audits, re-verification, study edits, and so on, not only do you read the MQF, as what I stated earlier on, not only do you look at your program standard as prior reading for all, we need to also look into this. Let's look at value base. Can we put in certain things to enhance so that our students will understand what is values, key values that are needed? Can we add in certain components in the assessment, assignment, or examples in class that will emphasize on SDGs for those who are not doing it yet? Okay? And in development, what about coming up with ODL styles or MOOCs, or also looking at certain occupational or sectoral frameworks that are already available, that are there, maybe the engineering board and so on, and how do we complement each other? Okay, now, they didn't say it must be in for all, going forward. They didn't say we need to see that. It is not an instruction. It didn't say that for future programs, I need to see SDGs. The MQF didn't say that. But I can assure you, when the panel reads your submission, they will sure ask for it. They will say, hey, you never touch SDGs. You should touch SDG. Then they will give you the maklum balas. Then you need to maklum balas back. Oh, okay, we will touch this and that. So before we go through so many of these maklum balas, put in your new program development. Start putting in already that you are looking at value base, you are looking at SDGs and so on. And I can assure you, when you use these keywords in your new submission, the panel, when they read, wow, these people, very good. Okay. Even though it's only doing a diploma in culinary, they are already touching. Even though it's a diploma in culinary, but you look at the way the structure of the syllabus, they are already looking at 2 and 3. Wah, baik, sangat baik. Senanglah sikit. We want to make life easy for everybody. Faham guys? So because they already say digalakkan, highly encouraged. This is what it is. Sure one, the panel will sure look at it one. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I got 2 more minutes. Thank you very much. So, what we did in this very brief session, we looked at the MQF from 2007, the definition, started MQF 1 to 2020, to today, MQF 2, that was in 2017, and today's revision, 2024. All of these revisions that are done basically is based on the changing needs of the industry, the market, and the employer. Okay. Then we also talk about the key elements of the MQF 2.0 2024 revision, which are the 4 key things over there. Okay. And those 4 key things, I would suggest and recommend when you do your program review, start thinking about it, put in those things, because this will definitely be required. Definitely. And for those who are doing new program submission, you must put it in to make your life easier. We all got experience with MQA officers, right? Okay. And it will be not only that, not only in the practical sense to make your life easier, but for the good of the student. All right. That is the correct answer I should give. For the good of the student who will go out to be graduates that are employable and know what is needed from them. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, any questions? Basically, that is the key aspects of the 2.0 revision 2024. Are there any questions? Understand? Questions? Boleh? Thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, good, good, good. So for those of you who are representing your school or so on, please go back and tell your heads. For those of you who are heads here, please apply it into your school. Apply and start running it. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.